Hello fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Hindsight is 2020 video where I talk about books that I have recently reread. So here I will be wrapping up my 3 overhyped books that I talked about in my TBR video. These 3 books originally got 4 or 5 stars, and I'm sorry to say I ended up DNFing 2 of these and giving them a 2-star rating, and the 5-star didn't hold up either. Deathless by Catherine M. Valente definitely was the one that held up the best. This is inspired not only by Russian history but also by Russian folklore. The way that Valente crafts her really strange worlds just shines in this book. When I first read it, I gave it 6 out of 5 stars, I said in my review, though on Goodreads, of course, I gave it 5 out of 5. Upon rereading it, though, this sits more at a comfortable 4 for me. The writing style, the world building, the lore is still magical. However, this is a very lusty book, a very sensual book, and for the kind of reader that I am now, I'm just not quite so in love with that. Not only is there a lot of sensuality in this book, but also it blends in with sadomasochism. And for me, that's just a little bit too dark for my taste these days, though I don't think that it's poorly done or anything. Though I really am not one to judge, I know nothing. So I still definitely recommend Deathless by Catherine M. Valente, and it still is going to sit proudly on my shelves, and I will still recommend it to people. However, I definitely didn't love it nearly to the same level as I did when I first read it. The Gracekeepers, however, by Christy Logan, will not be remaining on my shelves. I think that this belongs in the hands of one of my friends. I was describing to her the sort of buzzwords around this book: circuses, waterworld, post-apocalyptic, lesbian relationships, and all of those things intrigued her and sounded great to her, so I think that she would be the better reader for this book. However, most of those buzzwords aren't buzzwords for me. I'm not particularly enthralled by circuses, and in fact, most circuses give me the absolute creeps. The only 2 circus books that have been successful with me are The Night Circus, because it is not creepy at all, it's just lovely, and Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, because it is creepy and it's supposed to be creepy. But circuses that you're supposed to enjoy, I normally can't. I was also having a really hard time with our main character North and her bear, as seen on the front cover. Their relationship at times felt sexual, and I just didn't like it. I don't know if that was me reading into it or if that is subtext that is supposed to be there, but in either way, the whole atmosphere of this book, as I was rereading it, just filled me with dread. I was waiting for something awful to happen. I was waiting for something to get creepier or weirder, and at this point in my reading, I'm not looking for that in my books. So the first book that I think I bought because of BookTube has now been DNF'd and will be unhauled. I'm okay with that. It is a beautiful book, and I have one more Christy Logan on my shelves that I do want to reread and have hopes that I will be more successful with. But I definitely think my initial 4-star rating of The Gracekeepers, so much of it was by what I wanted out of it. I wanted to agree with the other booktubers. I wanted to love this absolutely beautiful book. I mean, the maps and the mer people and the back cover, but I just don't love it, and I didn't want to finish reading it. DNF 2 stars. My friend will enjoy it a lot more than me, hopefully. I also DNF'd The Stone Gods by Jeanette Winterson and gave it a 2-star DNF rating. I couldn't really remember what this book was about when I said I wanted to reread it. I knew it had something to do with sci-fi, and there was a robot, like an AI robot, but that's all I could remember. The first 54 pages, I think, are what I read, and this is about a 200-page book. And in those 54 pages, all we really got was how awful the world had become. And the way that this world had become awful was kind of suffocating. I think that's the point, but it wasn't a fun, happy, enjoyable reading experience. I also saw some of the lines that I had underlined that I had loved, and rereading them now, they did not impact me. So my writing style preferences, or what I was excited by when I first read this, just didn't hold for this reading. And at this point in my reading, with the sort of year that 2020 is developing into, I do not have time for books that I don't want to be reading and that don't make me feel better. So if you are a Jeanette Winterson fan and you think that there's a different book that I should read by Winterson, I have only read The Stone Gods and did not want to reread it, then please leave your recommendations down below. I do think that I am becoming less of a literary with the Air Bunnies reader these days, so it's possible that Winterson is going to be too literary for me and my taste as they are right now. But if you think that this might just be the wrong book for me, then please, I would love your guidance. So those were the 3 overhyped books that I had on my shelves that I wanted to reread, and I think my suspicions were true for 2 of them. I in no means think that the books I DNF'd are bad books, I just don't think they're books for me. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have reread any books that were overhyped when you first picked them up and what you thought. And until next time, thank you for watching and continue to be lovely.